Today is Mental Health Monday, and we're going to get serious about improving our mental health. Aloha, and welcome back to my channel, the Babyboomer Booktuber. I'm Marilyn Maya, and today I'm continuing my series of Mental Health Mondays, and we're going to get serious today about mental illness. On the dawn of the millennium, I was 50 years old in 2000, and I looked in the mirror in the morning of the millennium, and I decided that I wasn't happy with the way my life was going. I was carrying around almost 80 pounds of extra weight, pounds of pain, and I decided that I was going to change, but I didn't know how. So I went back to my usual way of improving my life, and that was books. And I read everything that I thought about improving my mental health. I started losing weight, but I couldn't get to the real crux of my pain. And I suffered from daily panic attacks, and not only being overweight, but I hated myself, and I was unhappy, and I let people abuse me. So I didn't know what to do. Even though I read a lot of books, I couldn't find the right book. I was online on a board for broken hearts, helping other people with some books that I had read that helped me. And another girl from Australia, she came on and she said, "You have to read this book, The 4 Agreements. It will change your life." And I was like, okay, I heard it before. I read every book. But I went out and bought this book, and indeed it changed my life. And I believe it can change yours. I'm not saying that it will cure any mental illness, because there is no total cure for mental illness. But one thing that it did for me was to teach me what my problem was. And what my problem was that I hated myself. And I needed to have, or to incorporate in my life, self-love. But I didn't know how to do it, because when I was young, I was told that I was unworthy. And we all are told certain things when we're young, to obey. If you be a good girl, if you do the good things, or a bad girl if you don't do what your parents tell you to do. And sometimes those things aren't the right things. So today I'm just going to talk about the first agreement. And I'm going to quote from my own book, which I'm not selling, I'm not peddling, because it's out of print anyway. But I was given permission by the author of the 4 Agreements, and his name is Don Miguel Ruiz. And I wrote to them because the book had affected me so much that when I wrote my own memoir, I asked for permission to quote from it, and he did very graciously give me permission. So I want to read from my own book, my memoir, what helped me. So it's talking about a young girl. And so the young girl is hearing things from her mother. So the first agreement, and agreements are agreements we make with ourselves. And sometimes these agreements aren't good agreements. They're detrimental to our mental health, but we make them as human beings. So we have to make new agreements that are beneficial to our mental health. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. I read it and realized most of my problems had to do with not telling the truth. On page 28, he says, every human is a magician, and we can either put a spell on someone with our word, or we can release someone from a spell. He tells the story of a little girl, one like me, who liked to sing, but her mother, who was in a bad mood, tells her to stop and that her voice was ugly. But the daughter believed what her mother said, and in that moment she made an agreement with herself. After that, she no longer sang, because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. And later on page 35, whenever we hear an opinion and believe it, we make an agreement, and it becomes part of our belief system. This little girl grew up, as I grew up, and even though she had a beautiful voice, she never sang again. She developed a whole complex from that one spell. The spell was cast upon her by the one who loved her the most, her mother. Her mother didn't notice what she did with her word. She didn't notice she used black magic and put a spell on her daughter. She didn't know the power of her word, and therefore she isn't to blame. She did what her own mother, father, and others had done to her in many ways. They misused the word. Genius. I had been living under an evil spell, or a black magic spell from my mother, who told me not so much that I didn't have a beautiful voice, though she did say that too, but that I was unworthy, that no one would ever marry me, that I was ugly. And I carried this within me for all those years, even though I thought that I had overcome that. Now, in the book, The Four Agreements, on page 20, he says, in your whole life, no one has ever abused you more than you have abused yourself. If you abuse yourself very badly, you can even tolerate someone who beats you up, humiliates you, and treats you like dirt. Why? Because in your belief system, you say, I deserve it. This person is doing me a favor by being with me. I'm not worthy of love and respect. I'm not good enough. So we have the need to be accepted and loved. This is part of being human. But we can change our beliefs about ourselves by making a new agreement. And according to the Four Agreements, the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. So what does that mean, be impeccable with your words? Well, it means a lot of things. One is don't gossip, don't lie. Just be truthful, and don't worry about what other people say. And learn to love yourself. And through this book, I learned to love myself. One little book. And I realized what all my problems were about. I didn't love myself enough. And it took me a long time. Yes, I lost weight. Yes, my panic attacks went away little by little, though I still suffer from agoraphobia from time to time. I think that all of my problems were based on what my belief system was, the agreements that I had made with myself. So today I'm just talking about the first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. I suggest that you read this book. I think it saved my life personally. And I hope that something that I've said today will help you be impeccable with your word, because it means so many other things that I can't explain in the short time I have with you. But it's very important, especially during this time that we're living in, this very, very anxiety-ridden time, that we make new agreements with ourselves. I mean, look at people who have everything. They're beautiful, they're young, they have money, some of them are famous, and yet they're drug addicted a lot of times. They're not happy. They commit suicide. And we wonder why. They have everything, but they don't have self-esteem. How do we get self-esteem, though? it's talked about a lot that we need self-esteem, but as children, we're giving beliefs. Even our own name is not something that we chose. It's given to us. And sometimes even a name can affect a person's whole life. So our belief systems, our agreements weren't chosen by us. So it's like we're living in a fog, and we have to get out of that fog by choosing our own agreements. And that's what this book is about. In future videos, I'm going to go more into the other 3 agreements. And, well, the 4 agreements. I'll go into more of the 4 agreements with you, because I want to be helpful on this channel. I mean, I didn't start a channel at age 70 not to be helpful. So I really hope that you get something out of the series that I'm doing for mental health. And I have more books to share with you, because it's not only one book that helped me, but I think this book saved my life, but other books were also helpful in improving my self-esteem and in improving my mental health. So I hope in future Mondays I do that, and I hope if you like this content, you'll subscribe, because I'm here for you. So until the next time we meet, aloha.